Hello, welcome to the Greentree All-American Podcast. This is your boy Greentree All-American. You find me on X, Norty2 / Greentree All-American. Um, welcome to the podcast. I just want to get started and become a YouTube creator, content maker. I know I have a long way to go, but I really just want to get on and talk about the Miami Hurricanes to the nation. With that being said, we have a huge game coming up, obviously, on Sunday. Notre Dame at Hard Rock Stadium, 7:30, August 31st. I will be there. Can't wait. I think the most exciting thing that I can't wait for is for the team to run out the smoke. For the team to see the crowd they have not seen since they've been here. I think the Florida State game was pretty packed last year, but it still didn't have that bite that we know that Hard Rock Stadium can have. And I can't wait to see the players' faces. Hear the war of the crowd when the cheerleaders and they bring out the flags with CANES, Canes. Gosh, it gives me goosebumps just thinking about it. But yeah, to go over for some things, the first thing I can think of is camp review. I think the biggest story behind camp is that there were no significant injuries. Some players here or there got dinged up, but nobody's out for the season that we know of, or at least anybody important. So that's great. In the past week, Mario mentioned in the interview or his press conference that they have less soft tissue injuries than they had in the previous years. And I think that's due with the head strength and conditioning regime change. A lot more players are not getting as injured due to the exercises that the coach has them doing on a day-to-day basis, and also recovery. Recovery is a big deal, and it seems like they're stressing that. Good nutrition, recovery, getting in the training room, so on and so forth. And I think another positive aspect from camp was that Carson Beck is healthy. He's feeling great, maybe the best he's ever felt. He's really getting along with his teammates. He's having fun. I think there has been a big rock lifted off his shoulders going to Miami. And I feel like although there's pressure for Miami to do well, I feel like he doesn't have that same pressure on him that he felt at Georgia, because it's just different there. It's different in Miami too. If he does bad, he's going to hear it from the fans. But I think D Money from Kane's Insight does a good job, or did a really good comparison of him and Mark Richt coming from Georgia to Miami. I think it's just a culture change, and it's a good culture change because Carson Beck is coming to a culture that has been developed over the past 3 seasons by Mario, right? And you don't have a lot of issues that you seem to be coming out of the team, and everybody's has that workman-like mentality that Mario has instilled to the team. And it seems like the program's really building, and we're in store for a good season, hopefully. But yeah, some other notes from camp is that there was emergence from freshman wide receivers, such as Josh Moore, who's 6'4", 215. Dalen Upshaw had a great camp as well. And then Malachi Tony. And a lot of people last season, they kind of ragged on Mario for not finishing high enough in the recruiting rankings. But boy, I tell you, if these receivers play like they practice, and hopefully they're not Greentree All-Americans, man, what a steal! What a good job of developing and um, seeking out the right players for your system, right? And huge credit to Kevin Beard, our wide receiver coach, for developing and finding these guys. It seems like they might really have a good impact on the team this year. Um, yeah, and so the emergence of the wide receivers, freshman wide receivers, seems like they could be relied upon this year. When there's a lot of uncertainty at the wide receiver, but that's not saying that these players aren't good, right? Uncertainty doesn't mean negativity all the time, right? We have CJ Daniels, who's coming off injury from last year from LSU. I expect a big season from him. And actually, I think he will have the most yards as a receiver this year. I think he'll go about 900 yards, about 7, 8 touchdowns. I think he'll take that Isaiah Horton role that we saw Horton play last year, but take it up a little notch because I think he'll be relied upon more. And also, I think you'll see a lot of Malachi Tony. And Ray Joseph and Tony Johnson will also get some burn in the slot. And I think it will be a committee of players in the first couple games until they really find who they would trust and believe in. And then also, I think the biggest storyline of camp was that that the team went back and forth with each other in a good way. One scrimmage offense, one scrimmage defense, one, and you're really hearing good things about the defense, and that's the biggest question mark of the team. I feel like, especially the spine of the defense, the defensive tackles and linebackers. How will they fare against the run game against Notre Dame, right? So, and the biggest thing about the defense this year is overhaul. About with the secondary, you brought in 4 transfers: Xavier Lucas, Charles Brantley, Ethan O'Connor, and who else am I missing? Maybe it's 3. We did have one that came from Arizona, but he transferred out of back to Auburn out after spring. But you have Xavier Lucas, OJ Frederick, Ethan O'Connor, Damari Brown, Charles Brantley as your 5 corners. I feel like I'm forgetting somebody. Anyways, and Keontae Scott, obviously, but he's a nickel, so you could put him at corner in a dire situation, but he's best in the nickel spot. And then also, we also heard that Jacoby Thomas and Zachariah Poyser are solid safeties in the back end. I think that's one area of the defense that really, really struggled last year. We saw a lot of bad angles, miscommunication, so on and so forth. And that's why you see a change with Coach Heatherman at the helm. And I think you'll see a big improvement. You have to, because last year can't get too much worse than what you saw last year, which cost you a playoff run with the generational offense. So with that being said, I think it's really time for Mario to accelerate the program. The transfer portal has allowed him to build the roster faster than it would have, in the 2010 to 2020 era before the transfer portal. He has a lot of guys now, a lot of dudes. We just don't have guys, we have dudes. And I'm really looking forward to big seasons from Akeem Mesidor and Ruben Bain and Wesley Basaint, CC Malanoa, Mark Fletcher, JoJo Trader, all homegrown talent players. I think I think it's important for those guys to really shine this year to show the development within the program. Because if you show the development of the players, that would just help you out in recruiting. And also when that development shows success on the field, and when we get in the playoffs, if we do get in the playoffs, everything you preach about is being shown on the field, right? And that would just make recruiting more abundant for the Miami Hurricanes and the program. So a lot is at stake this year, and at the same time, when you listen to to everyone in the program, Mario, the coaches, the players, there's just like a quiet confidence about them, and they're really not talking about living up to the hype of the noise. We're in the AP top 10, or ranked number 10 in the AP and coaches poll. So the coaches have respect for Miami's roster. And I think at the end of the day, the season is going to come down to coaching, and also, like I said, special teams, because the last couple of years, special teams has been bad and coaching has been questionable at times. And now we finally have the talent to, I feel like, play with most programs, because I don't think there's really any big programs that are head and shoulders over everyone else. This isn't the 2012, 2013, 2014, 2011 era where Alabama and Georgia would have all the good players, right? NIL, transfer portal, has really evened out the field across college football, and you see a lot more parity now. And so I think it's really now or never for University of Miami to take that step and get into the playoffs and the ACC championship game, right? But like at the same time, when with this new playoff structure, is a conference championship game really that important? Well, yeah, it is, because last year Miami missed out on the conference championship game. SMU got in and Clemson got in, and the playoff committee took both of those teams. So I think it's very important for Miami to make the ACC championship game and to win it. They haven't since they've been made to the championship game once in the 25 years they've been, or 20 seasons they've been a part of the ACC conference, right? So it's really now or never, man, because Carson Beck, you replace Cam Ward with Carson Beck. That's like two NFL quarterbacks back to back. Cam Ward obviously was the first overall pick in the draft. Carson Beck has that potential too, right? How often do you have that opportunity at your hands to have those quarterbacks that are that talented, right? So I think it's very important for us for Mario to take advantage of what's given to us. And I think the offensive line, like I said, will be one of the best in the country. And I think you'll really see us lean on that, especially with our running backs. We got a great running back room. I would say it's a top 5, top 10 running back room in the nation, with Mark Fletcher, Jordan Lyle, who are both over 220 pounds. Jordan Lyle can break one for a long one. And then Fletcher is just a workman-like back. He's going to do his job, and he's going to give you really good carries. And then also we brought in Shamar Brown from North Dakota State, which is a championship-winning program, FCS level. So that guy knows about culture, and also that dude's rocked up. So I'm really excited about the running game this year. I think that will open up the passing game. I'm excited about Elijah Lofton. I think he's going to be the Swiss Army knife for the squad, for the offense. And then I think Alex Ballman will have a good season, the other tight end from Tulane. Beck really likes to utilize the tight ends, and I think you'll see a very more methodical but efficient offense um, than last year, because although you really can't ask more from Dawson, as ranked first in the nation last year, the offense was scoring 45 points a game. That's crazy. But we had to, because the defense was so bad. And I think Cam felt like he had to put the team on his back most of the times to win. And he did. And that's why he was a first round pick. But, I'm really excited about the season. So just to go over the season schedule real quick. Obviously, we have Notre Dame coming up on Sunday. I like us to win 30-17. I think Notre Dame starting a freshman quarterback is really it's not to their advantage, especially on the road. If Notre Dame has Steve Angeli as a quarterback who transferred to Syracuse in the springtime, I'd be a lot more worried. And if Miami didn't revamp their secondary, I'd be a lot more worried. But we have the bodies to match up with the receivers. And I think Heatherman will stack the box, and he will, he'll use some complex looks to confuse the freshman quarterback. And I think this is, Miami's advantage in the game. And then next week, you have Bethune-Cookman. That's a win. And then USF, who just blew out Boise State. So it'll be interesting to see how they play Florida next week, because USF goes to play the Gators. You can't take those kind of teams lightly. Last year, they played with us for half, but our talent eventually outmatched USF. And then after USF, I think we'll win that game as well. It might give us a little fight, but I think our talent is just too overwhelming for them. But we'll see, And then Florida comes into town, and Florida is getting a lot of hype this year. A lot of hype. And DJ Lagway is a good player, but also he's been injured. For Florida, it's really, they have to prove it to me, because they also play LSU. If they beat LSU, then look out. We have a pretty big matchup at the end of September for Florida. The first month of September, I like us to be 4-0, or we split Notre Dame, Florida. But I think you will see what we've been seeing on the Mario era is a strong September. The guys are locked in, and I think a win on Sunday night will just have great momentum for the program, carrying them into the next few games. And then after Florida, we have a bye. Let me see. Verifying the schedule here. Yeah, then we stay in state, right? Another big thing about our schedule, even though the bye weeks are really confusing and not great for us, we don't leave state until November. So that's a big win, man. We have 8 home games, and what else could you ask for this type of season, right? Everything is kind of playing into your hands for you to do well this season, right? So then we go to Florida State on October 4th, and Florida State had a horrible season last year, 2-10. I think they'll be better with Thomas Castellanos as their quarterback, and also with Gus Malzahn as their OC. But I think they'll still struggle this year, be a 6-7 win team. And I think Miami will handle them that year, that week. And then the team has another bye and then they play Louisville at home on a Friday night. That's going to be a scary game. A concern factor, I put from 1 to 10, I put about 7 because Louisville is also coming off a bye week. So Jeff Brom will be really prepared and have some good schemed up offense for Heatherman's looks. The extra time will have him planning out, different concepts and just different things to attack our defense because in 2023, I feel like that was the first blueprint to attack Guidry's defense. And they were never able to adjust to that game plan with motion, using the tight ends and the flats, so on and so forth. But I like us to win that game as well. So with so far, we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-0 after Louisville. And then we go to Dallas, SMU. SMU, praise to them. Rhett Lashley is an awesome coach. I love how he sticks up for the ACC, and secretly, I think he's kind of sticks up for Miami with his comments that you see. He's a real one. I liked him as offensive coordinator here, and I'm glad he's doing a good job. But he's always taking Miami's players that we don't want, but developing them. Brashard Smith or Elijah Roberts both got drafted this past year. So I like what Rhett is doing at SMU, but I still think we have too much in the trenches with them to match up or for them to hang with us. I think we'll play bully ball with them and use a running game as our advantage. So I like us to win at SMU. So we're having a great season so far, just like last year. We've won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You know what? I'm sorry. We have Stanford the week before. So Stanford is not that great this year. And they're coming all the way from cross country, California to Miami. It's not a good matchup for Stanford. I'll just say that now. So I like this to win against Stanford, SMU. And then Syracuse comes home back to Miami. This is a get-back game from last year. I think Mario takes this a little personally based off Fran Brown's comments after last game, after he shouted out Dabo and Kirby. So I think Syracuse is going to get Miami's full attention in a good way, and I think that's also a big win for Miami. And then the week after, NC State comes into town. NC State's always a well-coached team, and CJ Bailey will be quarterback. He will have a lot of games under his belt by then. I think it will be a challenging game, but I still like us to be undefeated by then. And then the final 2 games of the season are our road games in cold weather. And every year, Miami falls apart in November. I can't tell you why. It's a mystery amongst the fans. But no one can explain it. Do we just get tired? Do we lose focus? Do we not like the cold weather? Maybe all the above. I think this is what Mario has to get through, the threshold that we have to push through is finishing strong in November. Virginia Tech will have it just really depends on how the season is going for both teams. Virginia Tech could have a really bad season, and it could be a new game. If they have a decent season, they put this night with Inter Sandman. Blasberg would be rocking, and then that's a totally different game, right? So I still like Miami to win this game just based off what Virginia Tech has. They lost a lot. They lost a lot in the portal. Um, and then, I like Miami to be 10-0 by the time they go to Pittsburgh. And I think Miami will lose that game against Pittsburgh and finish the season. What is that, 10 wins? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 and 1. I just feel like that slip up will come this year. It always does every year with Miami. Sometimes a team just gets the better of you, but we could always win that game too. And I would like to see that change because it would just remind me of 2017 in that, and then we'd lose Pittsburgh and then play Clemson in the ACC championship game. Much rather have an undefeated season going into the ACC championship game, but I think it's a little naive to think that we would go undefeated based off recent history. But anything's possible. Pittsburgh is a well-coached team that will have a good quarterback. And we've just had a long season, like without a bye week. So, I could see us slipping up to Virginia Tech or Pittsburgh, but I think it's more likely to slip up to Pittsburgh and finish the season 11-1. And then we'll meet Clemson in the ACC championship game. That's where I think I'll put my prediction, 11-1 and ACC championship game. Now, do we win the ACC championship game against Clemson? Maybe. I would love to. But I think if you finish 11-1, make it to the ACC championship game, I think you'll head to the playoffs. And whatever's after that, I think that would be most fans' expectations be met. And if you can make the playoffs, anything can happen. You're good enough to make that team. You can hang with anyone. And then, with that being said, yeah, and I just can't wait for Sunday, man. Yeah, so guys, thank you for listening. If you tuned in, like it, share, and subscribe. You can find me on X, Greentree All American, YouTube, Greentree All American. Looking forward to spending the season with you guys and getting better at the streaming process. Excited, can't wait for the season. And most of all, and finally, go Kings.